Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. A little bit of a difference here. I've cut my hair. I cut it earlier this week because it was getting way too long. I needed like a full, at minimum, 4 to 5 inches taken off because my dead ends were getting to me. And this was actually the first time I've cut my hair in the past like 2 years, I think. So I cut a bunch off. I know I wanted my hair long for the wedding, but we still got like another 6 months to go. So I'm sure it's gonna grow at least another like 4 to 5 inches or so. And then we'll be good. But this is good for like a nice refreshing change right now. This is not my mom cut. I just really needed a haircut to trim off a bunch of dead ends. So we're feeling good right now. But today we're gonna be chatting a little bit of what it's like to travel while pregnant. I know I did promise this video a while ago, and we just finished our whole Spain installment of all of the 4 cities that we went to back in, when was that? That was August. Was that August? Yeah, wow, that was a while ago. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been so long since we went to Spain. And since then, we've gone to Banff, and things have more or less stayed the same from what I knew when I was traveling in Spain while pregnant and also in Banff. But Banff was more for like our specific baby moon. A lot of people thought that we were going on a baby moon in Spain. I was like, no. I'm gonna squeeze in one more trip if I can, and that was Banff for us. So more or less, I have now been able to travel twice on a plane while pregnant, and I wanted to share with you my whole experience of traveling while pregnant and let you know what it was like, pros and cons, changes and adaptations I've had to make to my normal like everyday travel lifestyle compared to before I was pregnant, and what I would recommend. So let's just jump right into the video. So I'm gonna start off by letting you guys know that when I started traveling, I was already in my 2nd trimester. I would have loved to travel earlier, but unfortunately due to the pandemic, I wasn't able to travel earlier in my 1st trimester, which is like probably back in like April to June-ish. As much as I would love to, I couldn't, so I had to wait till now. And that kind of definitely, I think, changed a lot of things up. My body itself physiologically changed so much between the 2nd and 1st trimester. So if you're curious as to all this applies, if you're still in your 1st trimester, I'd probably say it's a little bit more intense in your 2nd trimester than your 1st trimester, but we'll just like dabble into everything. So first off, when flying on the plane, it is very important that you get up and walk as often as you can, because all of the blood flow kind of sometimes like pools down at the bottom of your feet, and you can get pins and needles and swelling if you don't. So my doctor and my OB personally recommended to me to try to get up every hour if you could. And the flight to Spain is like usually 7 hours-ish nonstop from Toronto. So getting up like at least 5 to 6 times can be a little annoying, I admit. I think I only really got up a total of 4 times. And because we're not supposed to be walking around exploring the plane ever right now, especially during COVID, you're supposed to stay in your area. I try to do it no more than 3 to 4 times, and each time use the bathroom as a break. So I highly recommend, if you can, don't go to the closest bathroom, walk to the farthest bathroom so you can get on your feet a little bit farther, get a couple more like steps in, and then use the bathroom. And at this point, take your sweet time. Honestly, I recommend it. Take as much time as you need in the bathroom. Just like relax, stretch your legs, do what you gotta do before you walk back to your seat, because once you're back and confined for at least like another hour and a half. But yes, whenever you can, definitely stretch your legs out on the plane. I also found that it was really helpful to let some of the flight attendants know that I was pregnant and I did need to walk around a little bit. They were a little bit more sympathetic to that and understanding to the whole situation. So there's that. Get your exercise on the plane to get your blood flowing and your legs mobile. Another thing I'd really recommend on the plane when you're flying is to dress comfortably. I know we already dress comfortably regularly when we board a plane. Like, I like to wear my softest and coziest sweats, because who wants to feel restrictive during your flight? Especially if your flight is longer than 5 hours, it's not fun. So make sure you're dressed really nice and comfily. One thing I really recommend also as well, along with like increasing blood flow in your legs, is to wear compression socks. So I originally picked up a pair from Shoppers Drug Mart for diabetic compression socks, and I found that those didn't really do much for me. So I actually ended up buying this pair from Decathlon when I was in Spain. It's kind of like a Canadian Tire, Walmart, Sports Check all like bundled together. They have a bunch of like outdoor and athletic gear, and these are actually athletic compression socks, and boy are these tight. They will squeeze your legs. I felt a world of a difference between flying to Spain without proper compression socks and then flying back home with these bad boys. flying there, my legs got really like tight and swollen, and my knee joints started to ache a lot when I got off the plane. But when I flew back home with these, they were phenomenal. My legs felt absolutely normal. I had no issues at all. They weren't tingly. I didn't have pins and needles, and I didn't have any joint pain in my knees at all. So I tried them again flying to Banff and back to Toronto, and again, they were a lifesaver. So if I were you, I'd really recommend picking up a pair of compression socks to bring with you. Maybe get like 1 or 2 pairs, one to go there and one to go back. These are going to be your lifesaver when you're on a plane and you want to ensure that you're getting enough and sufficient blood flow to your legs. And it does that by like really squeezing your legs. Like, you know, when you like squeeze your arm for too long, it starts to like really enhance the blood flow. That's what athletes use to get a lot more like higher blood flow capacity in their limbs. It works for them, it works for me too, and I loved it, so I couldn't recommend this anymore. Something that was also really important for me for comfort wise between just flying and traveling in general were my Lululemon Align leggings. So I've actually had these leggings way before I was pregnant. I was gifted these in a PR package from a brand when I went to an event like 2-3 years ago, and I am obsessed with them. These are the super high-waisted ones that come up pretty high, but at the same time, they're not overly tight, so you don't feel like they're compression leggings, but they do hold you in. So now being in my 3rd trimester, I'm a little bit too big for these, and they're kind of too small for me now, so I can't really wear them without feeling uncomfortable. But within the 1st and 2nd trimester, these were like a godsend. They hugged in your belly, gave it a little bit of a lift, so it didn't feel like it was stretching or pulling down on your overall stomach and abdominal area at all, and it really helped to suck everything in, and added to the fact that these Align leggings are like the softest and most invisible pair of leggings you will ever wear. I found that it literally felt like I was walking around naked, but with all the support that I needed for my belly. So I actually have these in the long form. These are the leggings that I like to wear on a plane so I can keep myself nice and cozy and warm. Then I also brought a pair of shorts as well so that I could wear while I was in Spain and still have that comfort and support level around my belly. If you haven't already picked up a pair of Align leggings or shorts for yourself, I would highly recommend if you're pregnant. Not only is it great for pregnancy, but it is phenomenal for working out as well afterwards. I actually regularly wear these to work out and go to the gym in, and they're so comfortable. So it's not one of those like one and dones where you just purchase it once for your pregnancy and you're like, ugh, when am I gonna wear it ever again? It's such a waste of money, because they're not cheap, they're quite expensive. But I definitely get so much wear out of these outside of pregnancy and maternity wear that I think it's justifiably good spend of your money. And if you like to work out or you just like to be comfy around the house afterwards, these aren't the type of leggings that get like slouchy in like the tummy area afterwards and it looks like you're wearing maternity clothes. It literally is just normal everyday workout wear that is phenomenal for pregnancy. And it's no surprise to me that I found out afterwards getting pregnant that these are actually like one of the #1 recommended leggings for expecting mothers. I am not surprised by that, and I highly recommend getting yourself a pair of these as well. So this is something that was really important to me during my 2nd trimester because I started leaking colostrum at around the 16-18 week mark. It was not great. It was really early on compared to a lot of other people. I've heard that you do start to leak breast milk usually like later in the 2nd or even like the 3rd trimester, but for me it was like right bang on early on, like even before halfway through my pregnancy, and it would just like leak randomly throughout the day and I had no idea when it was gonna happen. So if I was wearing a bra, it would leak into the bra, but if I don't wear a bra, which you guys know is like 99% of the time, it would leak onto my shirts. And especially in the summertime when it was like 45 degrees in Spain, I wasn't exactly keen on wearing so many layers, such as like a bra, tank top, and then like a sweater to cover it or anything. I was literally just wearing whatever I had on, which was a tank top. And when you leak, you can see splotches. And if you're wearing dark colored clothes, I had a lot of dark tank tops and bralettes there, the milk stains. So I actually picked up a box of nursing pads. These are disposable ones because I wasn't too sure how my body would react with them, if they would soak up well, if I would like them yet. I do plan on eventually switching over into reusable nursing pads once I do start breastfeeding with the baby, once baby's here in December. But in the meantime, I'm going to be using these disposable ones until I figure out like what my leakage situation is like, because it doesn't necessarily leak every single day. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes when I'm applying a pressure to my chest, like if I'm lying sideways, it leaks on my arm in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. So I didn't want to risk having leaks all over Spain, so I picked up a box of these and I stuffed about, I think like 20 pairs of them into my luggage. I didn't end up using them all. I think I only ended up using about like 10 of them because I would take them and I would actually cut them in half. I'm going to show you what they look like right now. They're actually quite big and I don't need that much space on these because I have very tiny boobies to begin with. So they come like this in these little like sanitary bags, similar to how you would purchase a pad in its own little wrapper. And then you just open it right up like this and it's a whole circle. So you actually get these little sticky tapes on the back that you peel off and you stick it to the inside of your bra or your shirt, and then you just adhere this entire thing over your nipple. It's literally like a period pad, but for your breast. And like I said, I have the tiniest boobies and I didn't leak that much, but enough that you can see it if it's coming onto your shirt. So what I actually did, so I would take them and I'd cut them in half, and I'd use the semicircles, envision this, and I would put the curved top on the top here so it would follow along the contour of my bra, and then just position my nipple onto like the middle of the pad so it would absorb it all. Then I use the other side and do the same thing over here. So with one, I would get two, and this is like a whole set for one day. So I didn't actually end up using that many, and I found that for some reason I wasn't leaking that often in Spain, but when I'm here at home, apparently I leak a lot. But I digress. These helped so much. If you are in your second trimester and you are already starting to leak a little bit, then I would recommend bringing these on your trip with you. I didn't wear a bra, so a lot of the times I just literally taped this to the inside of whatever shirt I was wearing. You couldn't really see through it. You couldn't see the stuffing or the pad. It, yes, gave you a little bit of enhancement because it's a little puffier, but it wasn't obvious or visible that I had pads on, and I'm just really glad that I had these because on the days that I leaked, it definitely saved me. So definitely recommend picking these up, especially if you already are expecting into your second trimester, third trimester, you've had your baby, you're nursing, and you're traveling, you don't want to leak through your clothes. These are going to be your savior for sure. I will try to see if I can find the ones that I bought and link them down below, but I haven't really necessarily tried like a bunch of different ones, and these aren't ones that I'm like saying that I'm recommending. These are just currently the ones that I have used and I've liked, and I don't know if I will stay on them or if I will switch to other ones in the long run, but yeah, these are the ones that I'm currently using at the moment. So another thing I had to keep in mind was my nutritional diet. So ever since I found out that I was pregnant, I started taking prenatal pills. I have recently been using the First Response Prenatal Gummies, and I also have to take Palafer, which are iron supplements, because I have a really low iron, which is not great for the baby. So what I do whenever I travel is I count out how many gummies I need and I throw them into a Ziploc bag and then throw that into my luggage, so I have just the right amount with maybe like 1 or 2 days doses extra in my luggage. That way I don't have to bring this entire huge bulky container here that's like A, big, takes up a lot of space in your suitcase, and also B, a little bit heavy if you don't need all of the gummies that are in here. Like, why bring all that extra if you're never going to use them? So I like to bring that, and then my iron supplements, I only need really like 1 a day, so I take 1 or 2 sheets plus 1 or 2 extras just in case, and throw that into my luggage as well. These weigh next to nothing, so I don't really count these out. I just make sure I have for sure enough to last every single day, and then I pack these together with me. I do not travel anywhere without these because I want to not only ensure my own health and nutritional wellness, but also for the baby as well. So these are really, really essential, and I make sure these come with me wherever I go. If we're flying somewhere, or even if we're going back to Ottawa for like a really short weekend trip, these have to come with me, and I ensure that I take them every single day. In the morning for my gummies, and then at night for my iron supplements. Speaking of health and nutritional wellness, when you're pregnant, you can't eat as much as you would like because your stomach kind of like gets compacted and shrunken with all the space in the uterus that your baby's taking over. So I can't really eat regular times, such as like breakfast, lunch, and dinner like I used to. I found that since being pregnant, I just eat whenever I'm hungry. So I've just straight up told Peter, don't worry about me. If you're hungry, eat. If I'm hungry, I'll eat with you. But just don't even think about planning your meals around me. Eat when you need to, and I'll figure myself out. So to fix that, I always make sure that I'm carrying snacks with me. Especially when we're on a flight, I always bring granola bars now, something a little bit more substantial than just like candy and chips, because I have to make sure I am also filling myself up with nutritious foods as well, not just junk, even though I have been gravitating towards a lot of candy lately because I have a sweet tooth. But everywhere I go, especially when I travel, I always bring granola bars with me because I know that I'm gonna get hungry eventually, and if we're hiking somewhere, we're on a beach, I don't want to get stuck with no food. And these are all individually packed, so it's easy to consume them. Throw them into your bag. Wherever we go, usually I go into the grocery store and try to buy like a box or 2 of granola bars, so I have 10 of them lying around. And then each day when we go out, I grab like 3 or 4 of them to bring with me and throw them into my bag so that if I do need them, they're there. So for anybody who is pregnant, I would definitely recommend making sure you have all the snacks that you need for the day with you whenever you go out. That way, if you're stuck somewhere and you're really hungry, you don't have to rush to find things, or you don't have to feel that you are stuck with only expensive restaurants. You can just grab a snack out of your backpack and you're good to go. Also, make sure to bring a water bottle with you because it's really important that you stay hydrated. I learned that the hard way while we were in Malaga and Marbella, that I was very dehydrated, and I started getting these insane Braxton Hicks contractions. They were not fun, and like really, really bad cramps in my abdominal area, which I think was probably bad for the baby as well. So make sure that you are staying super, super hydrated. We always every day packed at least 2 water bottles, one for myself and one for Peter. And because the water water in Spain is definitely potable. We just refilled our water bottle at any like the public water refilling stations that we could find whenever we finished them. I honestly think I went through almost like 2 liters of water a day. That's how much I drank, and that's how much my body needed, even though prior to this, I never drank that much water when I was traveling, but I made sure to ensure that I was always well hydrated whenever we were out. So bring your water bottles with you. So that's kind of it in terms of like food, nutrition, and like physical things I brought with me when I was traveling. We're gonna dabble a little bit more now into kind of just like travel lifestyle and changes that I made to my own itinerary and personal habits when traveling compared to how I traveled before since I am now pregnant. So jumping right into the bat with itinerary, we used to always load up our schedules with things to do starting at like the crack of dawn till literally midnight, and made sure that we stayed on schedule and hit every single, like I guess, thing on the itinerary that we wanted to do to make sure we achieved everything. That being said, when you're pregnant, you can't really do that. You have to definitely be able to adapt to your body and its needs. And I found that I had to take a lot more breaks. I could probably only do like 1/3 of the amount of things that I wanted to do compared to before. So you need to be able to forgive yourself. We would end up scheduling a whole extra day for each city on top of what we originally intended, so that if there were things that we wanted to do that we weren't able to accomplish within one day because I needed to take breaks, we could have like rollovers or like spillovers, like an extra day to take the time to do those things so we wouldn't feel that we were rushed. And that way we felt that we were able to accomplish everything that we wanted to do while we were there in the vacation. So instead of, say for example, typically planning like 4 days in Granada, we would add on an extra day and stay in Granada for 5 days. Even if we didn't have to push things, it would allow us to go at like a slower pace so that I could relax. I used to be somebody that could be like go, go, go all day long, wake up first thing in the morning, get ready, spend the entire day out, not need to take rest. But I found that when I was in Spain, beyond just like the dehydration and like the heat, I needed to nap quite a bit, or I would have to sit down and take breaks and like sit at a bench and just like relax in between doing activities to make sure I could catch my breath, get my energy back, and just kind of like give my body some time to rest. So you have to really accommodate, and health is your priority. So you have to make sure that if you need the time to relax, you can. And then we were able to do that by having the whole extra day and not feeling guilty that we couldn't get everything done when we wanted to. So I highly recommend adding an extra day to your itinerary for each place that you're going to be going to. That way you have the freedom to kind of just like slow down a little bit if you want to. Being flexible with your cash is also something you're going to want to probably focus on a little bit more. So say for example, if you are tired and your walk was supposed to be an hour to get from destination A or wherever you are back to your hotel, it ends up taking almost double the amount of time if you're walking. So we mapped it once. It was supposed to take like an hour for us to get from here to there, and instead it took us like 2 hours because I had to walk significantly slower to accommodate for my tiredness, breathing patterns, and etc. Sometimes it's more worth it to just fork over the money and take public transit or an Uber, which is what we definitely did towards the tail end of our trip in Spain. I started to learn that I couldn't force myself anymore to walk as much as I would like to and as much as I was used to before. I used to be the type of person who would just like fight through the tiredness and just be like, no, screw it, out of principle, I'm not paying for an Uber, we're gonna walk all the way there. But I learned that in pregnancy, you can't always just do that. Sometimes your body just gives out and it says, not today. So a couple of times we definitely did give in and used public transportation and Uber. And after I did that, I just felt so much relief. I wasn't stressed out, I wasn't tired, my body wasn't overly exhausted, and it was well worth what we paid for. Like an Uber in Spain is like €5, so it's not that expensive. If you need to take it, take the luxury of transit, whether it's public transportation or like an Uber or renting a car to go to places. You just want to make yourself comfortable and you want to make the travel experience convenient, because health is wealth, and you want to make sure that your body is a temple and you're treating it properly so that the baby is nice and safe when it's inside of you. Another thing I had to adapt to a lot was my diet beyond just having snacks available all the time. I made sure to do research ahead of time to figure out what types of cuisines were available in different places, what I could and couldn't eat. If you guys aren't aware already, when you're pregnant, you're not supposed to be consuming anything raw, which considers like meats, deli meats, sushi, unpasteurized cheeses, the whole shebang. So there's a lot of stuff in there that you're not really supposed to consume, and it's up to you as the expecting mother to make sure you're doing your due diligence to figure out what you can and can't eat when you go to different places around the world and you're traveling. So in Spain, they really love their cured hams. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to enjoy any of that. I have in the past, so it wasn't the biggest bummer for me, but I did have to make sure that whenever I was ordering dishes, I had to ask them like, is this raw? Is this cooked? Is this cured? Because a lot of the meats there usually are just cured. I can't eat that because because there's a potential risk of bacterial infection transmission. So it's really important to check all of your menus before you go somewhere to ensure there's enough stuff for you to eat and that you're being careful with what you consume so that you don't get sick. Part of our trip, I did get a little bit sick, and that's on me, and it wasn't the best, and I really regretted eating some stuff that I did, even though it was like the tiniest bite. So now after going through that experience, and it was not great, mind you. Spent a lot of time in the toilet for almost like 4 or 5 days, and it was not fun. But after going through that, I realized how important it was to be very, very careful with what I was consuming, and I just made sure to check the menu every single time before I went anywhere whatsoever at all. The very last thing I would say is just be open-minded and accommodating, and I think that kind of encompasses everything. When you're traveling and you're pregnant, anything can happen, and when you're traveling already, anything can happen. So add in that extra aspect of being pregnant. It's an actual health condition, so literally anything can happen, and you have to be ready for it. Like if you're gonna get cramps, you need to be ready to be okay with sitting down for the next couple of hours until they go away, and be comfortable with knowing that if you bought tickets to go somewhere, you're probably not gonna get in there because your body's not well enough for you to be up and around doing things. So I would say be open to adapting your schedule, changing things up, taking it slower, being a little more comfortable with yourself, understanding that you physically can't do the things that you used to do before. It was really challenging for me to cope with the mindset and the idea that I can't go on like 3-hour hikes up the mountain anymore, because when I go up anything, it starts to really like aggravate my abdominals. So you just have to be comfortable with knowing that there are going to be limitations and restrictions on what your body can and can't do. And if that happens, you have to be okay with it, because at the end of the day, it's only temporary. It's just for the 9 months while you're carrying, and then after that, you can go back to normal with all the physical activities you're used to doing. So that's the biggest recommendation I would say. Just be open-minded and be adaptable to any sort of changes in your itinerary. Oh, and then also make sure you have a really good insurance policy, your health insurance when you're traveling, because you don't want anything to happen while you're abroad, or else your bills will get really, really pricey. That's obviously going to be different for everybody depending on where you live and where you're from. So look into your health insurance before you go anywhere and make sure you are covered for sure so that you are safe. So those are some of the learning experiences that I picked up from traveling. It's safe to say that we've had to adapt a lot and go at a much slower pace compared to what I was used to before. And I struggled a lot being able to accept that I was not able to do a lot of the same things that I would have liked to before, and that is okay. It's only a short-term temporary phase of my life. I won't always be like this. So in the long run, I can probably go back to traveling normally down the road once I have delivered and baby is here. But in the meantime, you do have to adapt a little bit, and these are kind of like the sort of things that I have integrated into my travel lifestyle for now while I'm pregnant. Because we don't currently really have any other plans in the meantime to go anywhere else between now and when I deliver, I don't necessarily know if I'll continue all of these things afterwards, such as like bringing compression socks and like actually, you know what? I probably will bring the leggings. The compression socks I probably won't need, but everything else I think more or less will stay the same. I'll probably have to bring nursing pads with me everywhere I go because I'll be breastfeeding or trying to. And then I'll still need to take my prenatal gummies because you're supposed to take that when you're breastfeeding too. I still need to take all of my iron pills, and I'm probably gonna have snacks with me too, because when you breastfeed, you get hungry. But otherwise, I probably will be eventually able to get back to my normal physical strength, and I probably might be able to do uphill mountain hikes for like 3 hours at a time. So that's a whole other story, and I won't have to adapt as much. But I think if we start traveling with baby, we will have to adapt there. So that's definitely something we want to keep in mind at that point. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and kind of like sitting down and listening to me as I chat a little bit about how traveling while pregnant has kind of changed my travel lifestyle and things we've had to incorporate and remove from what we're used to doing when we're traveling. And I hope this kind of helped you out in case you're currently looking into doing some travel soon and you're pregnant as well. If you guys also have a baby moon coming up, let me know where you're going. I'd love to live vicariously through you since I have no more travel plans and I can't really travel for the foreseeable future. You're not usually really supposed to travel within the last like 9 weeks or so, just because like anything could happen in the meantime. So I'm kind of stuck at home for a little while unless I'm just like visiting family, which is just like a 5-hour drive away. So that's not too bad. It's still in the same province. But thanks for coming around and watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful. I hope you guys will come back for the next one. I post twice a week, every Thursday and Sunday at 7 p.m. EST. And if you guys haven't already followed me on Instagram and on TikTok, what are you waiting for? Make sure to head over there and to follow my accounts there so that you can see daily posts and updates from me. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have an amazing day. Love you. Bye.